Hello, my name is Babette. Welcome to Lesson 8 from Book 2 of Babette's Quick Start Guide to Theory for Fiddlers. And this lesson is what key are you playing in? And this time we're talking about flats. If you remember, let me grab my violin. We looked at flats as in the low position. So we went from the E string to the G string with our first finger right next to the nut. And those flat keys are F, B flat is on the A string, E flat on the D string, and A flat on the G string. The flats we remember are B flat, E flat, A flat, and we learned the word bead, so the fourth flat is D flat. Now let's take a look at how we do this. To find a flat key or C major, we first want to take a look at our first finger again. Is it in the low position or in the high position on the E string? If it's in the high position, we already know that it's in a sharp key, so that's not going to apply to this lesson. So our first finger needs to be low next to the nut on the E string, and that will tell us that we are in a flat key or in the key of C major. Now, if our first finger is low only on the E string, then we are in the key of C because we haven't played any flats. If it's low on the E string and also low on the A string, but it's high on the D string, we know that we are in the key of F because you played one flat, and that was the B flat on the A string. If it is low on the E, low on the A, low on the D, and high on the G, we are in the key of B flat because you played two flats, B flat on the A and E flat on the D. And if it is low on the E, low on the A, low on the D, and low on the G, we are in the key of E flat because we played three flats, B flat on the A, E flat on the D, and A flat on the G. We can also look to see if we are playing any low fourth fingers. If we are playing a low fourth finger on the E string, but not on the others, you are in the key, or we are in the key of F, or just realize I've been going back from you to we. If we're playing a low fourth finger on the E string, we are in the key of F because we played a B flat. If we have a low fourth finger on the E string and on the A string, we are in the key of B flat because we have played a B flat and an E flat. If we are low on the E, A, and D, we are in the key of E flat because we've played a B flat, an E flat, and an A flat. And if we are playing a low fourth finger on the E, A, D, and G, we are in the key of A flat because we played a B flat, an E flat, an A flat, and a D flat. Okay, it's time to get your instrument again, and so we can play this together. Please pause the video if you need to have time to get it. We're going to count this off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, was our first finger position low or high on the E, A, D, and G strings? Well, it turns out that it was low on the E string and low on the A string. So, knowing that, we are in the key of F because there's one flat, and that is B flat. Now here's another one. Let's play this together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so was our first finger position low or high on the E, A, D, and G strings? Well, the first note we played was low on the A string, and that's a B flat. There it is again. Low on the E string, but then we know that it would need to be low on the E string. Okay, so it is low on the E and on the A strings, and in this selection we can't really tell where it is on the D or the G strings because we haven't played on those strings. However, there is a low fourth finger on the A string, which gives us a clue. Remember? The low fourth finger on the A string is an E flat, which is the same as the low first finger on the D string. So far we know that we have an F, a B flat, and an E flat. Now, is there a low first finger on the G string? Well, we don't play on the G string in this selection, but we do know that a low first finger on the G string is an A. However, we also know that we played an open A in the second measure. Therefore, we don't have an A flat. So we have two flats in this selection, B flat and E flat. And if we have two flats, what key are we in? We are in the key of B flat. Okay, it's time to get started on our worksheets. And yes, I did say worksheets because for this lesson on what key are you playing in flats, we have two worksheets. And we'll begin, of course, with the first one and the first question, which is, what is the first note to look at to determine if you're in a flat key? Well, remember that first note to look at is your F natural. And is this in a low or a high position? That F natural is in a low position. Question 2. Indicate all of the finger positions you should check. Include the finger position in question 1. So this means what finger are you using on each of these strings to check. And we're starting out by using the first finger on the G string, on the D string, on the A string, and on the E strings. But we can also use the fourth finger in a low position on all of those strings to check. Question 3. If you are playing first finger low on the E string and low on both the A and D strings and high on the G string, what key are you playing in? Remember that the low position on the E string is F natural. It is not a flat. So therefore we're only playing two flats, which are on the A string and the E string. So now we can start with the first finger on the E string, which is F natural, and then move it to the low position on the A string, which is B flat. And that is the key we are in. Question 4. If you are playing first finger low on the E string and high on the other strings, what key are you playing in? Well, if we're playing it low only on the E string, which makes it an F natural, we're not playing any flats. And that would mean that we are playing in the key of C. Question 5. If you are playing first finger low on all of the strings, what key are you playing in? Okay, so first finger low on all of the strings means we're playing an F natural, a B flat, an E flat, and an A flat. That means we're playing 3 flats. So let's go and start on the E string again and count over for 3. So E would be the first string, A is the second string, and D is the third string. So first finger low on the D string is E flat. So we'd be playing in the key of E flat. Okay, now we have a couple of questions where we have to play. So go ahead and pause this and get your violin or mandolin, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, I hope you've got your instrument in the playing position. We're ready to go. You need to play along with me. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's take a look at this. Did we have a low first finger on the E string? Yes, we did. The third and fourth notes that we played were low on the E string. Did we have a low first finger on the A string? And yes, we did. The very first 2 notes we played were low on the A string. So we know now that we have an F natural and a B flat. So the next note to look at is to see if we have an E flat. Did we have a low first finger on the D string? Well, no, we didn't. But what did we have in its place? We had a low fourth finger on the A string, and that note is also an E flat. So now we know we have an F natural, a B flat, and an E flat. So we're looking to see if we have an A flat, but we can see right there that we just have an open A. So we don't have an A flat, but we do have a B flat and an E flat. That's 2 flats, counting over from the E string, E to the A string. That means that we are in the key of B flat. Okay, now for question 7, instruments in the playing position. Play along with me. What key is this? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here again, start with your F natural, low first finger on the E string. Do we have one in this selection? No, we do not. So let's go over to the A string and see if we have a B flat, low first finger. And yes, we do, right there in the first measure, which would be the second and third notes. Tell us we have a B flat in here. Now we're looking for an E flat. That would be a low first finger on the D string. Do we see a low first finger on the D string? Yes, we do. We have one in the second measure, and actually this selection ends with a low first finger on the D string. And lastly, do we have a low first finger on the G string? That's an A flat. Well, no, we don't play on the G string at all in this selection. Is there another way to play A flat? Yes, there is. A low fourth finger on the D string is an A flat. So now we know that we have a B flat, we have an E flat, and we have an A flat. That's 3 flats. So working from the E string is 1, A string is 2, D string is 3, and the low first finger on the D string is E flat. This selection is in E flat. And now for the second worksheet. And in this worksheet, the answers could be either sharp keys or flat keys. So let's take a look at what we have. I hope you still have your instrument with you because we're going to start playing right away. Okay, put your instruments in the playing position. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so most of you know what that comes from, but we're only going to look for the key of that part of the selection. And first we're going to start by looking at our first finger position on the E string. Is it in a normal or low position? And we can find that in the second measure here, and we see that it is in a normal position, which means that we're playing an F sharp. So we know we're in a sharp key. Now we're going to look for a second finger. And we can find a second finger in the third measure, and we see that it's also in a normal position. That means there are two sharps in here, F sharp and C sharp. So what key are we in, or what key is this selection in? This selection is in the key of D. Okay, get ready. We're going to play number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the first thing we're looking for here, again, is first finger on the E string. And do we have one in this selection? No, we don't. Okay, so let's take a look and see what we have on the A string. Do we have a first finger on the A string? And is that first finger on the A string in the normal or low position? Well, it's in the low position. Now let's look at the D string. Do we have a first finger on the D string? No, we don't. So we can't determine if we have an E flat. Is there another way we could check for an E flat? Yes, we can check to see if there's a low fourth finger on the A string, but there isn't. So the only flat that we know of for sure that is in this selection is a B flat. And since B flat is the only flat in this selection, we know we're in the key of F. Okay, question number 3. Let's put your instruments in the playing position. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we'll start by looking on the E string. Do we have a first finger on the E string? Yes, we do. Is it in the normal or low position? It is in the low position, so we know we're in either the key of C or in a flat key. Let's look at the A string. Do we have a first finger on the A string? Well, yes, we do. Is it in the normal or low position? It's in the normal position. So we know that we don't have any flats in this selection, and that means that we are in the key of C. Now one last question. This is question 4. Put your instruments in the playing position. We're going to play together one more time. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this one's a little tricky because some of the clues we immediately look for are not here. For example, there is no first finger on the E string. And what we really need to determine first is if this is a sharp key, C natural, or a flat key. Do you remember the second finger position we looked at when we were determining if it was a sharp key? We looked at the second finger. And there is no second finger on the A string, although we do see a second finger on the D string. And this particular second finger is not in the normal position, it's in a low position. Second finger on the D string is F. In the normal position, it's F sharp. In the low position, it's F natural. So this is telling us it is not a sharp key. It is either in the key of C or it is in a flat key. Now that we know we're looking for a flat key, we look again. There's no first finger on the E string. There's no first finger on the A string. There is a first finger on the D string, and it's in the normal position. That first finger is an E. So what we know is that we have an F natural. We don't know if we have a B flat, but we do know that we have an E natural. So for this selection, we kind of have to assume this is in the key of C. Under normal circumstances, it would be easier to determine what key you're playing in because you'd have a longer selection. You wouldn't just have 4 measures, but these worksheets were just a little bit of a guide to show you how you figure it out, what process you go through to determine what key you're playing in. I hope you had a little fun in trying to determine what key you're playing in. And I'm looking forward to seeing you the next lesson. Thanks again for following along with me. And until then, bye-bye.